And I think that's more where I'm really driving at here is if I just say, come in, pay your $10, get your 2 packs, here's your gem pack, and that's it. I think we lose a little bit of what the Armory is supposed to be from a certain point of view. So hopefully it didn't take me too long to kind of try and paint the picture of what I'm struggling with in terms of where we're going to go or where we need to go. But that's really what I think we're up against. So full disclosure, today's cast won't be relevant to everyone. That said, it's an extremely important topic, and I believe something that anyone who plays Flesh and Blood in the Flesh and Blood at the local level should care about. See, tournament organizers, LGS owners, and community leaders alike are facing a decision here very shortly. With the introduction of gem packs at the Armory level starting here in just a few weeks at the beginning of February, the change in Armory pricing structure means that stores need to rethink how they've historically handled entry, pricing, and overall Armory event tournament culture. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my Flesh and Blood friends. Welcome back to the channel, and thanks so much for tuning in here and joining me on your Flesh and Blood Friday. And man, is it a big one, because the world premiere for The Hunted is this weekend. We've had spoiler week at this point all week, lots of info, and then packs are being cracked right now. So it's intentional that I am releasing this cast and this topic today because, as I mentioned in the beginning, I think it's something that, the vast majority of people should care about but won't. So I don't expect this video to do very well, and that's why I wanted to utilize a day when everyone else is off looking at all the new stuff to talk to the folks who I think it really matters to and will resonate to. And, because again, this is something that I'm passionate about and the conversation needs to be had. And I think this is the right time to have it because we're only a couple weeks away from the gem pack. So what am I talking about overall in terms of the, I wouldn't say problem statement today, but there is a discussion and a change that needs to happen. So let me bring you up to speed with what I mean. So over the last roughly 5 years of the game, we have various stores around the world have kind of figured out what works for them for armories in terms of pricing, in terms of registration, in terms of atmosphere and all that. But that's all going to change here very shortly with the introduction of gem packs. Now, the introduction of gem packs is extremely exciting. I think it's in many cases what the game needs from many aspects to really help change the armory structure. Because as we've talked about in the past, there were some distinct challenges from the old armory structure, which was the 8 rainbow foils and the cold foil in various pricing setups. But now that's changing. Gem packs are really for everyone, and it's meant to be more inclusive. So let's kind of talk about that today in terms of putting into context for the change that we need to make. So in the previous structure, there were really a couple of options that stores had overall. So there were really 3. Again, you can't divide up the way every single store in the world did it, right? Because everybody has their own thing and their own atmosphere. But there were really 3 basic ways that armories were being run. There was the free entry and armory kit, right? Now, how they priced out the armory kit was, up to them and kind of falls within the other 2. But there was free entry and just utilize the armory kit. There's also another, which I believe to be more successful because A, it puts skin in the game, and 2, it rewards the store from doing something and not just counting on people buying Cheetos and all that, right? Cheetos is a chip. Snacks, that's what I meant. Snacks and pop and soda, whatever. Okay. Now, the other option is to do what I did at my store, which is a flat fee with flat pricing. So for my store, for example, it would be $10 US. All entrants would get 2 packs, and then we would utilize the armory kit for pricing on top of that. Okay, so everyone would come in, leave with something. Essentially what you're doing for your armory entry is just buying stuff at MSRP from the store. Okay, so it's a good partnership between getting the space from the store and good value return for players, overall, considering that you get the tournament entry. We also then have the, store entry with armory support where they do like pack per win type pricing. And that way, you're very much, in that case, kind of double dipping on the performance-based pricing, because in many cases, the armories and the armory kits are performance-based pricing. And then you also have pack per win pricing. So you have some people who come and they pay their $10 and leave with less. You have some people who come and pay their $10, for example, $10 entry fee and leave with more. Now, again, I kind of emphasize here, you see my notes, in my opinion, there is a strong emphasis on community partnership. And that's why I think today is a good day to have this discussion, because a lot of people just want as much as they can for free, no matter what. Well, the store's making money. So you go into the store, you don't buy anything, and then you're mad, right? Again, the people I'm talking to right now, those folks have already left. So I think we all understand functionally that in order to get the space at the store, it has to be worth not only their time, but you as a community have to present them a product that makes them at least as much, if not more, than what they could otherwise be doing with the space, right? So it's not just, well, the store made $10 because of our event. That's not good enough when they could have used the space to make $100, right? That is my argument. So it has to be, right, we want as best return as possible for our community while still understanding that the LGS is a business and will make decisions like a business should. Okay. So that's kind of the background on this, because when the gem packs come in, it changes the pricing structure. Okay. So let's go over right now to what the gem packs are. So we're all aware of what they are, but I want to read some very specific lines in terms of how they're being supplied and how they can be used. Okay. So we're giving you the flexibility to use gem packs however they best fit the culture and needs of your in-store community. That's awesome. They can be used as performance-based pricing, participation rewards, or random prize draws. You may not sell them, use them as a sales incentive, or use them to promote anything. Makes sense. However, my issue with so stores can do it as pricing. They can say, everybody in top 8 gets one. Cool. They can raffle them off. Cool. It's all allowed via the rules, or everybody can get one, right, for showing up. My issue with the first two of that is, in the majority of cases, a store's gem pack allocation will be sufficient to provide each player a participation pack for attending your armory each week. Now, we've chatted before how obviously the allocations are lower across the board. The allocations are lower than many stores need. So coming out of the gate, there will be less gem packs that are needed, especially because armory attendance will pop once gem packs come out. We've talked about that. Okay, we all get it. So I understand that fact. But to me, this highlighted line here tells me that the true intent of a gem pack is for the folks who show up to leave with one. That is how I interpret that. And let me know in the comments below if you disagree with that. But the reason I interpret it that way is, if they're sending you enough so that your average attendance can have one, so that your average, I said that wrong, but if they're sending you enough such that in theory, your baseline attendance, everyone can have one, they should, by definition of how many they're sending you, be used as participation prize. And somebody's gonna be like, well, but they're not sending me enough. I agree, I understand, but I'm confident that one day we'll get there. Okay, so what I'm saying is, in my heart, I believe that these should be given as performance prize. Now, again, you can do different things. Your stores, your communities can all do different things. I'm not telling you how to run your thing, but I am saying if they're getting 12 packs and your store's only pricing out top 8 or something like that, you should be asking that question, right? So it's important to me through this that we try and honor the spirit of the gem packs. And to that point, if we drop down to my event objectives, right? When I run an event, there's certain things that I have, as like I said, objectives and boundary conditions on which I have to meet. So the first is inclusive atmosphere. Now, many times, especially in today's day and age, when we hear inclusive atmosphere, we think gender, race, sexual orientation, all that, right? That's not what I'm talking about here, because I believe in my heart that should already be assumed as being part of a human being, or as being part of the human race, right? Being a good community leader. That should already be assumed. I shouldn't need to tell you that you need an inclusive atmosphere from an actual inclusion standpoint. What I'm talking about in terms of an inclusive atmosphere is people of all levels of play having fun, and having, whether success is a slighting term, but I think that's fair, right? So we should, from an inclusive standpoint, make sure that everyone in the community feels valued and included. That is what I mean by this. Okay. Now I've shown this graph before, but I have proven data that this works in growing a community. So again, what you've seen it before, but across the screen right now, this is the historical Armory attendance of my store pulled through gym history. And you see that I have to blow it up to get the exact date, but it was roughly 2 years ago, I started to see a significant decline, or not significant, I started to see a notable decline in my Armory attendance. So I engaged the community, why? Why are you going away? Life happens. But by and large, it was that when we were doing our previous Armory structure, which was prize out the winner with the cold foil, and then I would actually pass the rainbow foils are technically supposed to go to the top 8, but I would actually pass it down so that I could prize out 9 people, right? It just helped, meaning cold foil for 1, and then 2 through 9 we get the rainbow foil. That was originally how I was doing it in 2023. And folks were just tired, to be blunt, of the same person coming every week and running the same deck and just smashing face. And it wasn't that they didn't like the player. They were just tired of the staleness of it and feeling like the skill gap meant that they had no place at the Armory, that the Armory was a place to smash face. And this was not an issue unique to our community. We were getting that from many, many places around the world, right? Shared sentiment. So what I did on that red line you see there is I shifted to where the rainbow foils would go to the top 8 and we would raffle off the cold foil. And the data speaks for itself. You can see that Armory attendance began to increase again. And that's even going into, coming out of, I should say, crossing the Mistveil drop, in which our community has really taken a hit since late August with Mistveil. We've lost players and they haven't come back, which is unfortunate, especially with how good Rosetta is. But that's a different discussion, and how Mistveil is locking it down and, all that. But I don't really want to go there. So the point of this is I have proven data that shows that when you give players, a better chance at getting something, they will come to your Armory and keep coming to your Armory. And that's not to say that everything should be flat all the time and there should be no performance prizing. Again, the rainbow foils were for the top 8. We made sure they had them. So there was encouragement of competition. But the big prize, everybody felt like they had a chance. The data is there. Okay. And it's also important to me that going into these things, right, again, with the gym packs coming in, it is important to me that everyone leaves with something. Everyone should leave with, in the case of how I run them today, or will have run them previously to the gym pack drop, everyone will come in, pay their entry, get MSRP back. Great value, right? Effectively, once you subtract the MSRP minus a few cents, you're effectively running the tournament for free, but you're guaranteeing sales for the store, right? Quid pro quo, it's good for everybody, okay? So in that case, everybody leaves with something. And I don't do pack-based pricing for that reason. I do flat pricing, okay? However, if we were to move under that same structure with gym packs, where everybody comes in, gets 2 packs and a gym pack, and that is the pricing, there's no real encouragement, for people to stay. It basically just becomes open play at that point. It's structured open play, but functionally it becomes, right? That's what it does. It functionally becomes structured open play, and there's no real true spirit of competition, which I think is important as well. And I realize that from a macro point of view, someone out there could be like, well, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You want it to be inclusive, but you also want it to be competitive. And I understand what you're saying, but I think you're not picking up the nuance of what I'm after. I want there to be the feeling of competition and someone not just show up and, take the gym pack and leave. But I also, and there's ways around that, like have to stay till round 2 and stuff like that, but that's just forced participation. It's forced compliance, not forced participation, right? And the rainbow foils previously for us were serving as that. You'd get your rainbow foil. And it's like, sure, it's like, oh, well, am I going to choose to bring a Smash My Face deck to win a rainbow foil? No, I'm not. But I do want to be encouraged to sit down and try my best and have a fair, fun game with my opponent. And I think that's more where I'm really driving at here is if I just say, come in, pay your $10, get your 2 packs, here's your gym pack, and that's it. I think we lose a little bit of what the Armory is supposed to be from a certain point of view. So hopefully it didn't take me too long to kind of try and paint the picture of what I'm struggling with. in terms of where we're going to go or where we need to go. But that's really what I think we're up against. Now, on the flip side, if we move to a straight pack per win structure or a pack per win structure with gem packs being a prize, which again I think is BS, but if you do that, then you lose the inclusiveness portion of it, right? So where I'm moving to here is, how do we encourage competition or participation without prioritizing winning? Because winning, when winning is all that matters in this game, there are problems in terms of growth, in terms of community health. I believe that to be a fact. That is what I believe to be a fact. So here's what I'm going to be doing. At least out of the gate, things can always change. But where I've landed after mulling this over for the last several weeks is, for our armories at Ganga Games, we're going to honor the spirit of gem packs, and everyone who shows up will get a gem pack, and I will probably prize it out after round 2 so that we, don't have weird things happening. I will also be switching from a flat structure to a modified pack per win structure. And this basically, this ensures that we still have an entry fee so that the sources benefit from it. And the modified pack per win structure will also protect the store from not losing money. And what I mean by that is, on a pure pack per win structure, after 4 rounds, the store actually starts losing money. And the math on that is really pretty simple. You have basically, each round pays out half a pack per person, because there has to be a winner and loser per game. Now, obviously, there's a slight margin change there when you have a buy, right? And that person's getting a pack and no one's technically not getting a pack, right? But once you get past, so for a $10 entry, for example, that's, MSRP for 2 packs to put into the prize pool, right? You would have consumed that by round 4. Now, if there's only 3 rounds, the store actually makes money on that. If there's 4 rounds, the store functionally breaks even on MSRP, minus a little bit of margin, because you're going to give the quote-unquote pity pack. Someone's going to go over, and you always make sure they get a pack to leave, right? And then you have the roundups on buys, if there's that. But once you go to a 5th round, the store starts losing money on that. So do you charge $15? No, I think that's too much. And I don't think that's super inclusive, nor is it attractive, nor is it good value, right? So what I'm actually going to be doing is, I'm going to be capping our events at 4 rounds. And this isn't a problem for CC, because we've already been doing that. We start at 6 p.m., the store closes at 10. We've always capped CC at 4 rounds. And the other advantage I've had previously, when I moved to the spin the wheel for the cold foil, is if we had situations where we needed 5 rounds and we couldn't determine the winner, it didn't really matter, because the cold foil wasn't going to the winner, right? So it was actually a self-solving problem as we started to grow, which was I fell into that by accident, but that was kind of nice. And now that, again, we have the gem packs to where everyone will get one, it doesn't matter if you don't end up having a net armory winner, right? So if I hit 17 and I need to go 5 rounds, it doesn't really matter. And by and large, unless I'm like in the high 20s, and if I am, then I'll address it at the time, right? But right now, with my armory structure being in, the high teens, I think this is going to work. Because even if we do go to 5 rounds, the likeliness that they would have come, it's going to be a very rare scenario where 17, 18 people, the top 2 don't meet each other. Many of the times when we're going into that 5th round, everyone's like, well, he's at 4-0. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses, he's still going to win the armory, right? And I think many of us understand that to be true in many of these cases, again, at the armory level size. Now, again, if you have if you're in the high 20s, that's probably not the case. But for those of us in the 20-ish range, high teens, 20-ish range, that's generally a true statement. So, and we've always done that for CC anyway, where it changed. So for Blitz, there's many times we've done 5 Blitz rounds. So that will be a change for Blitz, where we will cap pricing at 4 so that the store doesn't lose money. Okay. Now that's the decision I'm making to basically protect all stakeholders involved. If the store is losing money on this, we're going to lose our play space, right? And as well we should. Okay. And the other thing is, if I say, well, because somebody out there's like, well, just say it's a max of 4 packs. Well, that's actually not true, because you're still pricing out half. So you'd end up having, somebody would end up getting, it'd probably be like 2 or 3 packs over that. And again, we're just quibbling over dollars and cents at that point, so it's not a huge deal. But in holding true with the spirit, I think capping at 4 will protect all stakeholders involved. Now, again, if you've made it this far and you're shouting at the screen, well, the store buys them at, 50%, so it's not a big deal. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But again, asking the store to, I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in asking the store to give us their space, give us their resources for lower margins. I don't think it's a fair ask. And I've kept our community alive, and I've kept the space for 5 years in that space with that approach. So that's what I'm going to hold to. Your store may be more benefit, and if your community is the one that they're always, buying drinks, buying chips, actually buying product from them, then good. And maybe it's a different situation in that case. So for right now, that's the approach I'm going to have. We'll see how that goes. I don't, again, because we're not having to quote unquote fight for the top spot anymore, I do think that will work. So that's what that's where I've landed. There's still another 3 weeks before I have to final commit to that. So my opinion could change. It's already changed maybe 5 or 6 times in the last couple of weeks as I've been trying to go through this. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to you all for your thoughts, right? Other community leaders, other community participants, what do you think? How do we provide an inclusive atmosphere while promoting competition in a promoting community competition, as they ask, right? And, to go back, I'll go back to, what I believe to be the intent of the gym packs. I'll even go in so far, and this will get dislikes, and that's fine. I'll even go in so far as to say that if your store is gatekeeping these gym packs behind performance, I think you should really push back on them. It is technically allowed. They are allowed to do that. I don't know what that looks like, but they are allowed to do that. So it's fine. They're legal. They're not going to not get gym packs. They're not going to get in trouble. But I think as a community, you should really question that behavior. And I think that if your community is not questioning that behavior, your community really needs to look internally to themselves as to what they actually think the long term of their community looks like versus just trying to solve what they want at that time then. That is my personal opinion. I know many people won't like that, but I really think that you should challenge the why are we doing performance-based pricing for gym packs? Because if you think about the whole point of changing what they're changing is to make the Armory more inclusive. And if you gate everything behind who took Zen to the top, I don't believe you are executing to that. But again, you have to do what's right for you and your community, and only you and only your community knows what's right for you and your community. So off my soapbox for that. Again, kick it off. Kick it back, I should say. We collectively will, over the next probably quarter, because we need to do this for longer than 2 months, right? The gym packs are going to come in 2 shipments per season, 2 2-month shipments. And I'm expecting that by the next 2 months, we'll have the allocation issues will have been fixed. And your stores who are only pricing out the top 8, top 12, whatever, they're going to have a bunch of gym packs in the back at that point, I suspect. On the next round, not on the first round, to be clear. Okay. And if you are at a store that's doing performance-based pricing and you have gym packs laying around or they're being used for other things, that's not okay. And I think that the first one will lead into that. But again, you have to do what's right for you and your community. But I think that my proposal to my community of doing guaranteed gym pack, the gym pack is the thing you're going to lead with, combined with the flip of the pack-based pricing, I think that will make kind of a nice marriage in the middle. So anyway, let me know if you agree, you disagree. I do expect to get lots of discourse on this one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So thank you in advance. And again, have a great hunted release season. I mean, pre-release is in about a week from the time of this video dropping. So have a great time. looking forward to see how this all evolves, and go Commando.